Hello and good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with a daily technical update. It is Friday the 3rd of November. Apple released earnings after market yesterday, and here I have the daily chart where you can see this is the estimated opening. It's trading pre-market, so around 3% lower compared to close yesterday. We don't know exactly where it will open, of course, and there's still some time for this to change. It will still be, if it opens here, will still be above the 200 moving average, but the RSI sentiment will still be negative, and the downtrend seems to resume. It hasn't changed to an uptrend at least, and what we can also do, we can just very quickly draw a trend line there, so it got rejected at that level. On the weekly, it is also in a bearish trend. RSI is still above 40 though, so still a positive sentiment, but that can also easily change over the next couple of days. And that will probably have a bit of a drag on the Nasdaq 100. Nasdaq closed above 14,781 yesterday, but the key interesting thing here is that we have the upper falling trend line, we have the cloud here, we have the 100, and we have the 55 moving average. So we could see a little bit of a setback. We are indicated a little bit lower, just pre-market here, just around the 14,850 at the moment. S&P 500 bounced very strongly lately, past couple of days, but it seems to also sliding back a little bit. It is still in a bearish trend, and we have the RSI still being below 60. It needs to break above before we are also in a positive sentiment there. There was divergence here on the lower values, but I would like to see it above 60 before I call a bullish trend. Just very briefly on Seng, that has bounced also strongly this morning. Very close to the 61.8 retracement and at 17,750. I think we could see a move up to around 18,000 when we start Monday, but also here we need to get back above 60 on the RSI for further upside potential. On the European markets, we have EuroStoxx 50, very strong. It's actually following through today. Of the entire downtrend, we're currently testing the 38.2 retracement, just below 4,200. We are above the falling trend line here, but these falling trend line not the strongest one, they're merely just guidelines, but it gives you a good indication. However, we are still below on the 60 threshold here on RSI, so I think we could see a little bit of a setback here in going into next week. DAX index testing the upper falling trend line, short-term upper falling trend line here, 15,280. There's some minor resistance there, but we also have the 55 moving average coming down, and then of course we have the very strong resistance area here between 15,480 and 15,575, which is really key. And also here we have the RSI still below 60, but I mean it did break the trend, but let's see if it can actually break also the 60 threshold level. The Amsterdam index above the falling trend line, and as you see, when we don't have so much white space, it's not the strongest trend line that will offer some resistance. Currently testing the 60 threshold here. That should be observed. Will it break above? Will it start sliding lower? And there's some really strong resistance around the 745, 750, especially where we also have the 100 and 200 moving averages coming down. Also strong rebound in CAC, of course, above 69.59 resistance, very close to the 7100, where we can see some strong resistance. We have the falling trend line there, and we have the 55 moving. I think we will slowly run out of steam here just around 7100, and then we'll see it sliding back lower into next week. Finally, the Swiss index Can it close this? I mean, they closed this gap area, but can it close this gap area here? 10,675. If it's being rejected, it needs to close above. If it's being rejected, it is likely to slowly sliding back towards low. So keep an eye on those. Euro dollar has been quite volatile, but trading sideways lately with a little bit of bullish undertone, but it can't really break above this 55 moving average here, and it also struggling with 106.35. Seems like it will have another go today. If it can actually takes out these peaks here and close above the 55, well, then there's room up to 107.62, but it seems to be a bit of a struggle. There was divergence down here. But if we're starting slide lower, and we get the RSI below 40, expect new lows in euro dollar. EURUSD, very strong, taking out 786 retracement, and I think we will see a move up to around 97. What we have, we'll also have the 200 moving average coming down at these peaks here, and then I think it's at least short term. It for EuroSwiss, a very strong rebound. I think we have cable here trying to have another go at the 123, 37, 35, 37 level here, but very strong resistance at with 55 coming down, 200 and 100 coming down, and the RSI is still in a negative sentiment, so if it breaks back below 40, well, expect further downside. Dollar yen, a little bit disappointing, ran out of steam just below the all-time highs, or not all-time, but the 22 peak. I think we will see it range bound here for a few more days, maybe something tonight with the US numbers coming out. We could see a move outside, but I expect it to be a sideways raise here for a few more days. However, the euro yen, on the other hand, is still trading this rising trend channel, a rising channel here, and it's slowly ticking higher. It's not that strong, but it is in a bullish trend. And when we're talking yen, finally we have Aussie yen testing the resistance here at 96.80.85, and I think it will be rejected at first go. Well, first go was actually yesterday, now trying again today, but I think it will be rejected, and we will possibly see a correction down to 96 before next move up towards 2022 peak around 98.5. I think we will get there, but maybe not just yet. Dollar Canada. Massive sell-off yesterday, but we are still in an uptrend. You can also see it here on the weekly. We're still in an uptrend, and I believe we will move higher. We could correct a little bit lower, possibly testing the falling trend line from the other side before moving higher, but it is in a bullish trend. On the dollar index, dollar index still in this range, and I think I'll remove this one. It's just a lot of noise. And this one too. The dollar index is really just called range bound between those two. It needs to break out, not only break out, it needs to close outside for direction. So wait for that. Gold is still stepping around, hovering around to 1985. Maybe we will see another move higher just before the weekend, as we have seen a couple of times now, where it's maybe feels like a safe haven for gold. So maybe we should have another go above 2,000. But there's still, I mean, we should have a correction. It's ripe for it, but whether we get it, it's debatable, of course. But I think we'll get it eventually. So keep your stops tight if you are long. We have silver. It's almost a boring story. I need it above 23.78 before further upside. On the other hand, we have copper that actually broke its upper falling trend line here. Maybe we'll have a little bit of a test of the trend line again. We still have the RSI below 60, so I want a close above 60 before I become more positive on copper. Otherwise, I'll probably just slide back towards the 360. On the oil market, a bit of a volatility still. Seems like it's bouncing off from around the 100 moving average here. We are just above the 82. Could we resume uptrend? I wouldn't be surprised if we see that, despite the fact that we are a little bit in a downtrend, but it could be a larger correction downtrend there. Brent, more or less the same picture, but I never took out this key support here because it's also bounced yesterday from its 100 moving average. If it moves back into the cloud and back above the 55, well, then look out for 90.68. Gas markets, a little bit of correction after being rejected at key resistance levels, so I think we will move slowly ticking higher. Same here with Henry Hub, so that's also a level to look out for. 363. If it does break above that, then we are looking at least $4. Finally, interestingly, the US 10-year retraced 786 of the last leg up there around 462, but as you can see here, 450 and the lower rising trend line, that is the key. If it does close below that and below the 55 moving average here, then we have a different situation. Then we are in a bearish trend on the US 10-year yields. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice Friday and happy trading.